Hey, what's up, guys? It's Raven here. Today is patch day. We have the very first balance update for Steel Division called And Justice for All. I've kind of just skimmed it so far, but I wanted to kind of go over it and share my thoughts with you guys and where I think the state of the balance is headed. Just start off, we have like just some key improvements, bug fixes, single player modding stuff. Kind of glossing over that because I'm mainly focused on multiplayer, but there is some nice stuff here like 10v10s. The starting deployment time was increased from 3 minutes to 2 minutes, which is a huge quality of life improvement for that mode, even though it's not really a mode I play. And that's definitely something to be aware of. And some other stuff like text size, new music, all that's great. But we're definitely going to focus on balance for this video, so let's get right into it. First of all, we have kind of some global stuff. AAA, which is basically anti-air, gun anti-air, prioritizes ground attack over fighters now, unless they're evacuating. That's probably a pretty good quality of life change, actually, because right now people can, for example, send a fighter ahead of their bomber train, and obviously all your AA will target the fighter first, and that as a result, all the bombers get through. So that this will kind of maybe reduce some of the pain of plane trains, but we'll see. And then also reduced recon planes in price, reduced HMG suppression, reduced mortar crew ammunition loadout, and reduced HMG resilience. All of those are pretty good changes, actually. Recon planes, you don't see much use to them. HMGs probably should suppress a little bit less at the close range. They shouldn't even be able to fire at close range, probably, in the context of this game, because infantry squads with a machine gun, like Panzer Grenadiers, for example, cannot fire their machine guns under 100-meter range, but HMG teams like a static MG42 or whatever, they can fire at underneath 100-meter range, which is kind of an odd distinction, and I think probably this HMG suppression nerf is at that close 100-meter range, but the patch doesn't say specifically. But anything to nerf MGs at closer range is probably a good thing, in my opinion. Mortar ammunition loadout reduced. That's also great. In my opinion, mortars are a little too strong, especially just in the early game. A lot of times when you play against somebody who knows what they're doing, it's I don't know. It gets to this point where like nobody can move anything because the second something is seen, it gets rained down on by mortars, and it's just not good gameplay, and it's not satisfying. And I think reducing the ammunition of mortars is really great. And I also like this reduced HMG resilience, which means basically now instead of 6 men, an MG42 squad will have 4 men. The 50 cal or 30 cal machine gun, rather than having 7 men, has 3 men. These are all really good too, because again, in a lot of higher level play, you'll see somebody they'll start with like say 6 machine gun teams and 2 AT guns. I mean, it's just dumb. Honestly, machine guns, they had too much resilience where they could function almost as line infantry. They had nearly the survivability of line infantry, but with quite a bit more damage potential and range. So I really love that HMG resilience nerf, especially when coupled with the mortar nerf, which I think will allow these guys to have a little bit more. The effect of the resilience nerf won't hurt them quite as much as you might think with mortar's not as strong, but we'll have to see how that shakes out. The one thing from this place I don't like is the reduced supply truck quantity. I think there is, in general, too much supply in the game that can feed artillery spam, but on the other hand, I think this nerf will probably hit a lot of maybe you could say legitimate uses of supply, where rearming infantry or whatever, where now instead of like 3 trucks you only have 1 or whatever. And I think they need to take another look at supply and find quality of life improvements, like reduce the supply per truck but increase the number of trucks, or increase the radius that a truck can resupply. But definitely gonna have to see how that shakes out as well. Just general allies, the 203mm off-map price was increased, and it doesn't say from what, and I don't remember offhand. Probably just a slight buff to an off-map that wasn't really used much. 25-pounder dispersion is reduced. That's actually a huge buff for the Commonwealth nations, which rely on the 25-pounder either naked or in a sexton. Not sure how I feel about that, just because artillery in general, I think there's too much of it, and it's too big a deal in this game. But I think if any artillery piece needed buffs, it probably was a 25-pounder. Bren carry ammunition increased from 180 to 300. That's a pretty good quality of life improvement. That 180 was just too low. The Humber Mark III, which is an armored car, it got its AP back. For a while there, they took away its AP because I think people complained about autocannons, but I think that's a great change too. If the Humber has its AP back, then that just makes sense. Even if it's low, it's only 3. It allows it to kind of deal with half tracks a little better. I do like that. And then just some other stuff like Humber Mark IV, which is a kind of bigger gunned armored car compared to the Mark III. Got a price buff, little price buff. Staghound AA got a price buff from 60 to 50, and the 50 cal machine gun got its price nerfed, which I think probably is necessary because it's a really good machine gun, even on top of the slight manpower nerf it got. And then UK specifically, the Daimler armored car and the Daimler Littlejohn armored car both got pretty hefty price buffs, so like that. Churchill Crocodile got a flamethrower, got an ammunition buff, which probably is alright. Bren Group's price reduced from 15 to 10. I think that's insane. The Bren's not very good, but the Bren Group has 2 Bren, and if they're firing from cover or dominating a open field hedgerow around them, they can actually do pretty decent work, and making them only 10 points a squad, especially because like in the guards, for example, they come in an armored car. That's a really big buff. And I mean, in general, I think maybe the UK stuff could use that, but that's probably one of the bigger buffs in this that I've seen so far. And then command carrier price also buffed, which will let you get out like your command squad a little cheaper or whatever. But generally good changes. I like armored cars. I think are a little too obsolete right now. They need price buffs and they need to come in earlier phases. Let's see. Tetrarch turret speed increased, probably good. I hate it when a unit just has such slow turret speed that it can't rotate to face something when you're popping out to trade a quick shot. 2 packs of 1 elite 6-pounder AT gun added in Phase A. This is for the 6th Airborne, by the way. That's a pretty big change too. A lot of people have been asking for that, where the 6th Airborne, they don't want it to have to rely on their captured pack 40 in Phase A. I think it would have been better to give them 1 pack of 2 elites rather than 2 packs of 1, but okay. It's a start at least. Scottish, they had a observation Churchill price buffed, which fine. Nobody really used it. They probably still won't use it just because the shells aren't very strong. Recce with Humber Mark III moved from Phase A to Phase B. That is absolutely stupid. I don't know why you would do that. German divisions get SPW 222, which is much better than the Humber Mark III, and they're all over Phase A. I really don't like that change. I'd have to double check on that deck. They might like still get it in Phase A, but then there's also a card that comes in Phase B. I'd have to kind of double check on that, but that's kind of dumb. Guards Armored, a lot of changes here. A lot of people kind of think the Guards Armored is underpowered. I thought that was true in maybe smaller games, but I think it's pretty decent in big games. They reworked the infantry tab, and then parentheses, seen by yourself will be faster, which is probably the most Eugen patch note I think I've ever read. I might, if I can get the game patch before this video is over, I might take a look at it. Yeah, I'll open it up. Let's see what else. Cromwell OP replaced by a Sherman OP available in Phase B. It's an off-map unit. Who cares? Stuarts from Phase A now come in packs of 5. I think they came in 4 before. But whatever. Added 2 packs of 1 Tempest in Phase A. That's kind of interesting. It gives you an early game fighter option, which I think can be really strong depending on who you're playing and what kind of team comp you have. That's probably a good change. Increased Typhoon AT XP. It's probably fine. Reduced M5 half-track price from 20 to 15 is pretty big, actually. Especially, I think the Bren group came in that, I think. So that's a price buff from 35 to 25, the Bren group with the half-track, which that's pretty good, actually. Cromwell 5 moved from B to A. Let me see if I can pull up that battle group, actually. A lot of changes. It makes more sense if I can have the context. You guys can't see it. But yeah, the Bren group is 25 points in the half-track. They moved motor rifles to Phase A in this deck. There's some motor rifles in Phase A, I should say. In fact, there's 4 cards of motor rifles in A. Or no, 1 card of motor rifles in A, and a card of regular rifles in A. Or no. Yeah, they're right. You should just look at the infantry section, because they have a lot of changes. There's all kinds of motor rifles in A now, and yeah. Stuart's are 5 per card. The Cromwell 5 is still in the A. Cromwell's 4, which is the command tank, is in A. They didn't change too much in the tank section. Yeah, so you guys can't see my screen. I was just looking at the guards armored in the game, so I won't dwell on that too much. But yeah, I think they improved the infantry tab quite a bit, and they're kind of just messed around with the tanks a little bit, like inverted the Cromwell's AP and HE partition, whatever. The Sherman price buff here from 150 to 140. That's a pretty big deal too. I think in general, kind of the 75 Shermans are overpriced, so it's good to see them coming down a little bit. Canadians, Staghound AA is now 2 packs of 4 in A, rather than, I think, 3 per pack, maybe. A little bit of buff for the Staghound AA, which, let me double check on that too. The Staghound AA is, I think, bugged where it was, so I'm going to check on it here. It's still pretty strong, yeah. Staghound AA is actually pretty strong, especially as an infantry fire support. And if it's 4 per pack with veterancy, that's pretty good. Ram price nerfed, I agree with that. The Ram is really strong with high armor for Phase A. Tripolston moved from A to B, that's great too. Tripolston's pretty ridiculous, overperforming in A. I mean, in general, they nerfed the A. They moved the Tripolston to B. They moved the CMP Tripolston back, or they reduced the availability of it, I guess. And then other general A buffs, it looks like. USA M8 price buff, that's good. Reduced 4 GPA speed, whatever. This is again the Sherman 75, got a little bit of price buff from 160 to 50, that's good. Another option of veteran Stuarts in A, that's kind of neat. You can maybe take 1 command Stuart now with some veterans to support it. Jumbo got a side and rear armor nerf, probably okay. Rocket recon plane reduced in price, which I guess is in line with the other recon plane price buffs. Airborne actually has quite a few changes. The M22, like, kind of light tankette they get in Phase A got a little bit of a price buff. Airborne Engineers got a price nerf, which was really necessary in my opinion. They were really good, especially for Phase A. Now they cost a little bit more, and you have the choice of either taking them as rookies or with less availability, but still the old veterancy. So that's a good change. 4 GPA off map. That's the really heavy caliber off map that got price nerfed. 10 points is not enough of a price nerf for that, in my opinion. But yeah, that's a start at least. M8 Scott price buff to reduce the 37mm availability. I don't know why. Mustang, this is a big change actually. This is the Phase A Bomber Mustang. Availability was reduced to 1 per pack. That thing was abused like crazy. That is a good change. It's way too strong in Phase A, especially if you get more than 1 per card, so I'm glad they did that. Increased Grasshopper Veterancy to Veteran. Okay, whatever. Say a recon plane got a veterancy buff. Second infantry got kind of light buffs to rangers. That's fine. Pancerna, that's the Poles. The Poles are actually one of the most troubled decks. I'm really surprised they only have 4 lines. They got 2 packs of 2 Wolverines in B, which is kind of whatever. Their off-map Sherman got moved up a phase. It's also kind of whatever. Increased Jeep Z NKM availability from 3 to 5 in A and removed it in B. I don't even know what that is. I gotta look at it real quick. Jeep. Oh, that's the that is the machine gun Jeep that their recon gets. Now they can get it. Oh, I see. Oh yeah, okay. They have a 50 cal machine gun Jeep that you can get in A now instead of B, which that's alright, I guess. And Sherman price buff, which is great. But overall, that was really underwhelming, actually. The Poles need more than that. And that was kind of it for allies. Now we're on Axis. Flak 38 and Flak Veerling efficiency increase. Now, I wish they'd quantify that. Like, what does that mean? Nobody knows. It's like they're a little bit better now, I guess. Flak 38s, by the way, are the 20 mil, just the lone 20 mil. And the Flak Veerlings are the quad 20 mil. I think the Flak Veerlings were actually kind of okay, but the Flak 38s needed help. So, that's a good change. I just wish they'd be more clear on what that meant. Add more realistic ammunition loadout and infantry. Okay, what does that mean? I'm glancing real quick at it. It looks like there's more machine gun ammunition, maybe, so I guess that'll help Panzer Grenadier. But, and give specifics on that, guys. Like, what the hell does that mean? Increased IG-18 stealth from bad to medium. That's decent, I guess. IG-18's a nice fire support gun in some decks. The Schwimmwagen Beobach observation post price nerfed. That might be the heavy caliber off map, which fine. Panzerwerfer price, a little bit of a price nerf. I think that's alright because the Phase A Panzerwerfers were kind of douchey. This is actually the big change right here. Is the light caliber HS-129 and the Stuka Kanonenvogel both had their AP reduced from 12 to 9. That is huge. These things will have difficulty penetrating Shermans now. It's not a guaranteed pen now. Before, like, they would pretty much always kill a Sherman they did a run on. But now it's not so sure. That is a huge nerf to those planes. And then the heavier HS-129 has a slightly more modest nerf, but I don't know what I think about it. Like, I don't really like these planes, to be honest. I think they kind of go against the design philosophy that informs the rest of the air war and the air tab. I think they're too effective, but they're also, especially the Stuka, is kind of easy to lock down or punish. Probably a good change overall, especially given how many of these units come in Phase A, which is just dumb, to be honest. But yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that plays out. I might comment on that more later in future videos. Third Fallschirmjäger, a lot of changes here. Panzer L6, increased ammunition, increased price. I really like that. Price nerf it needed. More ammunition is kind of a quality of life improvement that makes it more usable. Pioneer's got a price nerf that I'm not quite so sure about, but okay. Pack 41 Gerlich in unarmed Kubel XP changed from elite to veteran, and the one in the Kubel MG is availability nerfed. So I think that means you can take the Gerlich in the regular Kubel with lower veterancy, and 3 availability, or you can take it in the Kubel MG with higher veterancy and less availability. So, I guess whatever. The Scharfschütze, this is the Fallschirmjäger sniper squad. It's got its rate of fire toned down, but it only had 3 ammunition before, now it has 30, so it's not bugged anymore. Come back to that. Fallschirmjäger AA units veterancy. Oh, that's nice. I really like that actually. Basically the AA units with the FS tag, which is basically just their 20 mil. I think it got its veterancy increased. I really like that. Increase the XP of their fire support gun, the LG 42. That's nice. Reduced mortar availability from 3 to 2. That's good too. These 120 mil mortars are absolutely ridiculous. I think it's good if they have less of them. This is kind of odd. The Fallschirmjäger, the Luftwaffe Jaeger loses 1 MG42 and Panzerfaust by Faust Patron with less act. I have no idea what that means, so I'm gonna go look it up real quick. Luftwaffe Jaeger. Where are they? Okay, so Luftwaffe Jaeger only has a single MG42 now, and they have what's called a Faust Patron, which is the new rocket launcher they added to the game. It's got 9 accuracy and 2 shots, which is 1 less accuracy than the Panzerfaust, and it probably does less damage. I don't know if I like that, but they nerfed the Luftwaffe Jaeger pretty good, which they were pretty good before. And then finally, 1/16th, they removed the Stuka from A, which it's probably in B now, I guess. Price nerfed the Panzer III and removed one of the armored cars they had. So not much there, though I like them taking out the early Stukas. So that's pretty much it for the pack. I gotta say, they're kind of underwhelming. Some good stuff like the MG, but I don't know. I was looking for more. I was looking for kind of a lot more artillery reworks and overhauls. I was looking for some improvements to medium tanks like Stugs and Panzer IVs and that kind of stuff. Maybe Churchills. Yeah, I don't know. We had to wait 3 weeks for this patch, which in my opinion is way too long after the release, and I don't know what they've been doing for 3 weeks. It's just what wasn't enough in my opinion, and they just need to. Well, I know what actually. Look at all these fixes, all these kind of quality of life improvements. I think they were probably spent a lot of their time on this stuff, which is the bug fixes, the enhanced performance and whatnot, and maybe not as much time on the balance stuff, even though obviously it's longer to write down. I don't know. I think all this stuff is good, but in terms of balance, they really need to step it up and patch more often, get a little more better handle on the balance, because I think, you know, right now a lot of the divisions this is their first balance pass. They weren't released in the beta, they weren't out until the game actually released, so I don't know. I think they just need to step it up a little bit on the balance changes and be a little more quicker, a little more responsive, but this is a decent start, but I think maybe not as far as they could have gone. So again, that's kind of just my quick and unfiltered thoughts on the patch, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you feel a little bit differently, I mean, maybe I missed something, or I didn't understand the import of some momentous change, then please let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. So that's all for now. Take care.